writing copy, you want to capture the voice of whoever it is, whether it's my voice or a client's voice, because otherwise their market will not recognize them.
Welcome to the Evolvepreneur AI Advantage Show, and I'm your host, Wray. My mission is to help entrepreneurs understand AI and use it to their advantage. Join me today where we dig deep with our guest and get you the best concepts and strategies. Today's special guest is Starr Oldorff. Starr is the founder and CEO of Done4U. Along with her team of virtual business specialists, she provides support to high-level business owners in the areas of digital marketing, administrative operations, and project management. Today, we are talking about AI and productivity for the small business. Starr, welcome to the show.
Richard, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, me too. And Starr, I've got to ask you the question that I ask all my guests. Starr, where in the world are you?
I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina in the United States.
And you've got that beautiful voice and accent that goes with it. So I'm looking forward to listening to you today.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, let's get into this. So, Starr, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you became the CEO of the company.
Well, I'm a mother of 5, and I was a young mother, so I had to make the choice early on of career or motherhood, and I chose part-time work and motherhood. Years went by, my kids got older, I started working for a nonprofit, and one of the board members said to me, you really ought to be a virtual assistant. And I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what that is. He's like, you could do everything that you do right now that you're so great at, but you could do it virtually and have clients all over the place. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And I filed it away. I was working on my business admin degree. A few years went by. Someone who knew me very well and knew my business background, because living in the place that I live, it's full of small businesses. So I've always worked in small business. And this woman had established her own virtual assistant agency. And she said, I know your background. I need some help. Do you want to come work for me? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't understand the virtual business model. How does that work? It's like all tech. Well, I almost said no. But then I decided, I was working, everything was fine. I decided an opportunity has come my way, so I'm going to take it. I took the opportunity. I'm in my 11th year. I quit my job 3 months after I started, which was way too early. You should wait at least a year because you don't know what's coming. And that's how it started. I started as a solopreneur doing virtual assistant work. I grew my business as big as I could. It got to the point that I had to decide, which way do I want to go? Do I want to scale it into an agency, or do I want to stay where I'm at? So I decided to scale it into an agency and, to focus on online business management as well as providing business services to service-based small businesses who also are trying to grow and scale.
Oh, fantastic. So you really have gone on the full journey. You're a mom, the hardest job in the world. And then over the years, you've gone on and you've built an amazing organization off the back of that.
Absolutely. And I love it. It's exciting. I work with people all over the U.S. right now and all kinds of businesses. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell me about how you started to use AI, because if you're working as a virtual assistant initially, and then you're expanding that out and becoming an agency and everything else that goes with that. When was the first time you thought to yourself, this AI thing that people are talking about could be quite useful?
Well, it was about a year and a half ago. I was on vacation, and a big roadblock for me is always creating content. Just sitting down and creating content, because I'm always working on everyone else's businesses. And so I found this copywriting AI tool, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to check this out while I'm on vacation. I checked it out and I didn't like it because it took me longer to figure it out and to do all the edits than it would for me to sit down and actually write. So I set that aside. A little bit of
now,
time.
Starr, I have to tell you, that's not where I thought that was going. So that's good to know.
Good. More to come, though. Good stuff. That was my first experience. My second experience was about 6 months later, where I needed a relatively inexpensive transcript tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I found Otter.ai,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. And, we record all of our meetings, we get notes, we get transcripts. When someone does a podcast interview, we use it to transcribe our podcast. And then came, I think it was around November of last year when AI became this big thing all of a sudden out of nowhere. Then all my clients, they're like, AI, what about AI? And some of my clients were excited about it and they started trying it on their own. And some of my clients were afraid of it because they were afraid of, I guess, copyright infringement, people stealing their stuff. And so that's where
A lot of that fear at the time, wasn't there? There was everybody's going, oh no, if I put my information into here, then suddenly everybody's going to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with ChatGPT. And, I'm a research person, so I'm researching everything. And it's like, okay, you have your basic ChatGPT. Well, if you upgrade, then there's more security in it.
Yes.
And so I upgraded because I wanted to start using it because my business is all about productivity. Mm-hmm. And, my clients want to save time and money. And so for me, I saw AI as an opportunity to save myself time and money and to save my clients time and money.
So it sounds like you had a great relationship with your clients, that they had you as a trusted guide. You're looking after me and I want you to tell me about AI and what it can do for me. What was the tone of the conversations at the time? Because were people genuinely concerned, or is it a case of, well, everybody's using AI, I must be too, it's the latest hot thing? How was that going?
Most of my clients were excited to dive in. A lot of them are speakers, and they also develop programs. And so they were using ChatGPT for speaking purposes and to develop their programs or what they were going to talk about. A few of my clients, they were very concerned about the security, and they still haven't adopted it yet. And so the next step was that we started using it, generally all of my clients, as a brainstorming tool for, a variety of purposes. But it has, the use of AI has grown from there. I have one thing that I'm doing right now for one of my clients is she's at the point in her business where she's become the roadblock in her business because she's scaling and she needs to completely step away from the operation. So I'm using ChatGPT to develop processes. I'm really into systems and processes, but to develop processes that will eliminate her from the processes completely. And that's really exciting for me.
Well, let's go into that one a little bit, because that seems like a practical example to talk about, because a lot of people, as similar to yourself, started off as a solopreneur, have some success and progress through to the point where you're in that really tricky phase of taking it to the next level. It sounds like it's a similar situation for this client. Tell me more.
It is. Well, she's a business coach for lawyers and CPAs. And so she spends a lot of time doing that, but she's also a speaker. And the one specific thing that we're working on is to eliminate her from, how do I want to put this, the speaker application process. So I go into her inbox and I see, I see an email and there's some speaking opportunities. Well, we don't want to have to say, hey, do you want to do this? And so I've taken what I know about her business, what she's a specialist in, the topics that she likes to speak on, and I put all that with some specific prompts into ChatGPT. I am a specialist in, I want to speak at certain speaking engagements about this topic, but I want to eliminate myself from the decision-making process about whether or not I should speak at this event. Please give me a process to do that. And then, chat will give me a process for that. And when I see the process, then I look at the outline and I look at the pieces that that are relevant to her and what we're trying to do and that I want to develop further. So I isolate that piece, put in another prompt so that it will develop it out further.
So it sounds like you've got a very well-defined iterative process that you go through, but it's that initial prompt and making sure you've got the correct information in it, which is the key to success.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And every time I try something new in ChatGPT, I'm really learning the value of being very specific in my prompts.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've all seen those ads on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it might be, 10,000 free prompts or 100 prompts to make your business successful. What's your opinion of those sorts of things?
Well, I've never opted into any of them, but I do get one email in my inbox, and this person provides prompts, how to do this or how to do that. And I think they're pretty good. So I think it depends on the source.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably generic, and you need to learn how to apply it to your specific case, because, a general prompt is not going to work in every single case and every single business unless you tweak it a little bit.
So it sounds like you put a lot of effort into creating your own prompts. What's the process, or is there a formula that you apply to be successful with your prompting?
Well, I always like to put myself, if I'm doing it for myself or if I'm doing it for a client, I assume the identity of whoever I'm doing it for. So if I'm doing it for a client, I am a psychologist who focuses on leadership development. I am going to speak at an engagement about this topic. My target market is this topic. Can you create an outline that would engage my audience, and then I would go on from there. But I always put the specific things in, like who I am, what I'm trying to accomplish, and what outcome I'm looking for. And then it will give me, ChatGPT will give me information, and then I'll start to edit it and, work it, manipulate it to get it, perfectly down to exactly what I want it to be. That was some bad Southern English right there.
No, that was actually extreme. It's one of the best examples I've heard of actually how people really work with this. One of the things that you mentioned there, which I thought was incredibly important, is telling ChatGPT what the outcome you want is. Now, tell me, do you ever say to it who the audience is that's going to be seeing this outcome?
Oh, absolutely. Putting in who the audience is absolutely critical to the outcome and to the effectiveness of the outcome, because otherwise, the way that I understand that ChatGPT works is that it pulls from a collection of data. So if you give it a generic prompt, it's going to give you generic data. If you give a specific audience, it's going to give you more specific data.
So again, it sounds like you go through, you do the first prompt, but that will never give you exactly what you want. So you refine and you refine. But then once you get close to the result that you want, so let's say 80% there, you go in and you apply your personality and what you know about the client as well.
I usually start with that piece.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not the way to do it, but I usually start with that piece. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try it the other way now.
Well, no. It's very much a case of it does sound like, but as you go through the process, you refine things constantly, but you only let ChatGPT or whatever tool it is that you're using take it so far, and then the human side of it, you or one of your team members kicks in and then applies that extra degree of human polish.
Oh, that's absolutely necessary, because you want to try and capture, say if we're writing copy, you want to capture the voice of whoever it is, whether it's my voice or a client's voice, because otherwise their market will not recognize them.
Of course. So tell me, this show is about the positive side of using AI, but I do like to ask my guests, what are the negatives you see, or what are the problems, mistakes that you've seen people using, or maybe stuff that you've stumbled across yourself when using AI?
Um, I think I think people in general, like I've worked with some of my clients and I have one, he's very excited about AI and he's like, okay, tell it to do this. And I'm like, well, it doesn't work that way. You can't you have to give it something to work with. It's not like a magic genie in the bottle and you just rub it and something comes out of it. And so, that's one thing. You have to know what you want. You have to be specific. And if you think you're being specific, you need to be even more specific than that if you want to get your desired outcome.
Have you had any clients say to you, well, why would I need you now? I'm using AI.
Oh, yes. When this, back in, late fall, when this AI first became a big thing, we discussed that topic. Our team, all my different teams that I work with, we discussed that topic on several team meetings, because even for me and what I do, it was a concern at first. I've had people tell me or tell my clients, well, once you learn ChatGPT, you're not going to need that person anymore. But now I realize that somebody still has to do the work. And the benefit is that there's increased productivity, and so you can accomplish more. And the way that the business world works now, especially with digital marketing, is that business moves really fast and things change really fast. And if you were to go the old school way and just write everything out on a piece of paper, you'd never catch up. So, ChatGPT, I see it as helping business owners to stay ahead of the game. But I also think that there is a concern about some people losing their jobs. In fact, I won't mention anything, but, there have been some layoffs. And I think that some of those people will start building their own companies. But on the other hand, I think it's exciting. What's his name? Can I say a name?
Of course you can.
Tyler Perry was he was building, what was it? He was doing a studio expansion. And then he paused the studio expansion because he was excited about some AI technology that...
You saw the stuff where he's creating movies. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, hey, that's so smart, because instead of building this big studio complex where he's going to be filming all these different scenes, you let him use AI and see how that is going to save him money. He's still going to need a team. He's still going to have to put in some investment. So that was exciting for me. So I think, it could be good. I think it's good. I love it. But I think there are going to be some downsides, because there are some downsides with everything. I'm kind of excited to see, I use Canva a lot. I'm kind of excited to see what they're going to do. I think they're buying out or already bought out Adobe Photoshop. And Canva
that's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Canva has a lot of AI technology in it. So I'm going to stop talking now.
No. Please keep going. This is wonderful stuff. I love to get these sorts of great conversations going, and this is wonderful to hear the sort of things that you're saying. So tell me then, you gave a great example of one of your clients earlier on. Is there any client that, and again, you don't need to give names or anything like that on this point, but really the golden client that was incredibly frustrated, and you waved that magic AI wand and they've gone, oh my goodness, this has changed everything?
That would be, yes, I do have a client like that. And that's the client who is wanting to remove herself from all of the day-to-day operations, because she's giving me free rein to redevelop the processes to remove her from those operations. And, that's exciting for me. And then I have another client who, he does a lot of speaking and training and live seminars. And he does a lot of videos. And so he's looking for video technology that, there's a name of one, I don't remember what it is, but they can recreate your likeness, excuse me, and speak for you. So he could put in the input, and then he could have this person walking around the room. And so we're getting there, but that's in the beginning stages of it.
So we're not quite at that fully artificial world yet. They're still needing the human input, and it's still super important.
Yeah, and I'm not an AI expert, so I don't know what's possible, but I feel like at some point it's going to be possible that you won't need a human for some things. I think there's a name for it. It's kind of like when you're doing something, and whatever app you're working on, it knows what you're trying to do next, and it will just step in, and help you along with that, or even do it for you.
That kind of a predictive approach is very exciting.
Yes.
It could also be a little dangerous if we're not careful. So there's always got to be that human element, especially if it's where your business is involved. So I think there should be a degree of concern or a degree of caution at this stage, all the same. But it is exciting. So tell me, what is the areas of AI that have really surprised you?
Well, one thing that I really like a lot is when I first started my business 10 years ago, I mean, it's tech-based, and none of the applications really spoke to each other. And so you have this big, giant, clunky tech stack, and nothing really works together, so you have to keep moving around. And then things changed a little bit. It wasn't necessarily AI, but, then we had API keys. And then we had other tools that would help all these different applications speak to one another. Well, what I'm seeing now that makes me excited, which I was a little bit concerned about at first, is that some of the tools that I use are starting to build AI into their systems. Because when AI first came out, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to go out and buy all these new tools. But that's not necessarily the case. So that's very exciting for me.
And you mentioned there that tools are actually starting to talk to each other potentially. What have you seen here?
Well, with the API keys, just say, for example, if you want to automate a process and you want to connect one tool to another tool and pull data from one place to another place, but you don't want to have to do it manually, you could either use the API key, or you could use another tool called Zapier. And it will connect a lot of applications together and make them work together. And I don't know if it's AI or not, but Entreport, for example, it creates, whereas you used to have to create the whole entire automation, and if it was this really big funnel, you'd have to figure it all out. It kind of does it for you now if you want it to.
So you mentioned Zapier there, and there's several other products out there. I mean, Microsoft Power Automate is another great example. So it sounds like not just AI, but actually getting apps to talk to each other. Because one of the things I've seen is AI can be very exciting, but if it's stuck just in ChatGPT, it runs out of steam kind of fast.
Yeah. So in chat, what I like about ChatGPT is that it has plugins now. And a lot of my clients are also authors, and I found this book writing plugin that you can use to help facilitate. Really, if you haven't even started, it can help you write your book. So I really am excited about the plugins. And so chat will talk to these plugins. There's a video editing plugin that I can use with ChatGPT. So that's as far as those types of integrations, I'm beginning to explore those, and I like those a lot.
That sounds very exciting. So, Starr, if there's one piece of advice that listeners should take away from today, what would it be?
I would say to experiment. Start with something like ChatGPT and just experiment, and let it try and help you solve a problem. And just see how it works. It can be any problem that you're having. I have one client, we needed to work on her messaging. And so we used ChatGPT to add some finesse and some more targeted messaging to what she has on her website. So it's a great problem-solving tool as well.
Fantastic. Starr, where can people find you? And do you have anything exciting that they should know about?
They can find me at my website, done4u.vip. Please connect on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me all those places. And one exciting thing that I'm working on right now is using ChatGPT to create a new service. And in fact, it took me 1 hour. I'm really stoked about this. It took me 1 hour to create this program from start to finish, including all the team that I would need, all the steps that I need to do to build it, to implement it, to maintain it. I ended up with about 11 pages, but if I would have did that on a piece of paper, it would have taken me, I probably never would have finished it. So that's what I'm working on now.
That's exciting stuff. And we may have something to add to our show notes for later on.
Yes, we might, because I am looking to offer a freebie to anybody who is interested in using the same prompts that I use to create my new service in an hour, to create any service that they might want to create, saving them some time and money as well.
Fantastic. Well, we'll make sure to include that link in the show notes. Well, Starr, thank you for your time today. I love how you're using AI in a smart, intelligent way and trying things out and making use of it. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Richard. It has been a pleasure being with you today. You're such a warm and welcoming host on AI Advantage. So love it. Thank you.
Thanks, Starr. Well, that's a wrap on another awesome guest episode for the Evolvepreneur AI Advantage show. Just before you go, if you like this episode, we would be very grateful for a 5-star review. Please also consider recommending the show to a friend or two. Make sure you subscribe for future episodes at aiadvantage.show right now. Until next time, I'm Richard Wray, and if you're an entrepreneur, get the AI advantage today.